trustees of the college, past presidents, fellows and members of the college, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you honored and humbled as I take the reins of the president of the College of Physicians in its 54th year. I follow in the footsteps of my predecessors, distinguished physicians who have left their footprints in the sands of time. They, with their counsels behind them, have worked relentlessly over the years to bring our college to what it is today. It is the oldest and the most distinguished body of physicians in this country. I thank the past presidents for electing me and the fellows and members for the confidence that they have placed in me. This is the highest accolade that can be bestowed upon a physician in this country, and it is my great privilege to take this honor. I congratulate the outgoing President, Dr. Anand Vijayavikrama, and his council for the wonderful work done under the most trying circumstances that we have had to face in a lifetime. When I look at the new council, I see a strong and dynamic team, chosen carefully to represent the many different subspecialties, giving our college diversity and strength while building strong links with the many specialist colleges and associations in the country. What we do this year, we do as a team, sharing our ideas to take our college to new heights. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a difficult year, and mankind is facing its greatest challenge in a century. A world war like no other world war, against an invisible enemy, an enemy against whom we have few weapons. This isn't the first time that nature has turned against us in this manner, perhaps to remind us how fragile we are. In 1918 and 1919, the influenza pandemic, the so-called Spanish flu, is estimated to have claimed almost 100 million lives, more lives than the two world wars put together. There are scores of books and movies and songs about the great world wars, but little is remembered of the pandemic because human memory is such a strange thing and human nature is so resilient. This is a phenomenon known as the world's collective amnesia, because there is little glory or heroism in disease, while reminiscence paints war with a false glory. The world wanted to forget the Spanish war, the Spanish flu, to pretend that it never happened, just as we will one day want to forget these awful days. But history has a tendency to repeat itself across the world. This pandemic is now a great war which is raging. But it is a war which we must have the confidence to win. This is a war which is fought in the hospitals, fought in the community, and in the laboratories. A war which we must fight without thought of surrender. There is little glory for the soldiers of this war, no decorations or medals, and no heroic doctor has ever won a Victoria Cross for saving a patient. For the physicians who battle the disease, there is only the grim sadness of losing patients they fight to keep alive, and the unexpected joy of seeing a dying patient rally round and recover. We must honor and felicitate the brave soldiers of this war, the healthcare staff around the world, our dear colleagues who risk their lives every day to keep us safe. We must also pay tribute to those colleagues of ours who have been casualties of this great war, those unsung and sometimes victimized heroes who gave their lives fighting to save the lives of others. Ladies and gentlemen, the pandemic brought with it great fear. At the beginning, the fear of dying of COVID-19 gripped the society, a deadly disease which was merciless and which could unexpectedly kill. Later on, people started being afraid of being found to have COVID-19, with the fear of being stigmatized, shunned, and locked away becoming greater than the fear of being stricken by the disease itself. This is the darkest side of the pandemic. The old and sick are hiding away without seeking medical care. People are dying of other diseases. Patients with chronic diseases, non communicable diseases, acute severe illnesses present late or die at home. Our attention is diverted to the pandemic with little time or resources to look after those with these maladies. Many of these deaths are preventable, and the fact that such deaths are taking place reflects a breakdown in the provision of routine medical care, which is deadlier than the pandemic itself. As physicians, we too are afraid to provide the best of care to our patients for fear of contracting the disease ourselves or spreading it to our loved ones. COVID-19 brought with it desperation. It was seen as a deadly disease with no cure and little prospects of one, given the record science has with treating viral diseases. People had a fearsome epidemic in front of them and were not prepared to wait. Society clamored for a quick remedy, and science failed to deliver. It showed us how unprepared we are when faced with a deadly new disease. Is this because we are tied down with the rigors of scientific method, with the overriding principle that we should be sure that something works and is safe before we recommend its use? Our system of research is not one built for haste. Ethical safeguards and honesty have forced science to slow down and be cautious. What happens is that this leads to the widespread use of gunslinger medicine. As deaths mounted, doctors and patients rushed to use drugs and substances of dubious value without evidence for their efficacy or safety. Others, with vested interests, hoping to score where they could, stepped in and advocated remedies which were untested. Tens of thousands advocated the use of hydroxychloroquine after Donald Trump promoted it relentlessly, saying, "What have you got to lose?" The arguments raised on in Sri Lanka with physicians and some surgeons advocating its use, and the use of many other useless substances in desperation. And what of these numerous remedies, these numerous drugs promoted as cures for COVID-19? Some advocated by many, unleashed on an unsuspecting public. Have any of these worked? No, they have all failed so far. And yet, what have we got to lose? Why not try everything and anything that might work in some way? Do we really need to wait for these trials? Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a demon-haunted world. When science falters, when fear overcomes us, demons take over. Preying on our fear, surrounding us with the darkness of ignorance. In conventional times, we would hesitate to take medicines unless they were essential, even though we know that they have undergone rigorous testing and that all the side effects and benefits are known and accessible. But in times of desperation, we throw caution to the winds, and even our best scientists are willing to hang on to a thread of hope. But are we really willing to cut corners, expose our trusting patients to unknown substances, not knowing what harm they will do, knowing in our hearts that they are probably useless? The demons that bring us darkness can be dispelled only through science. Science is that candle in the dark. Let us not lose faith in science. Science is rigid in its making, slow and ponderous. Science asks too many questions, wants too many answers. But science has delivered time and time again, ridding us of the scourges over the ages where dubious therapies have failed. Malaria, which killed millions in the past, is now a dying disease eradicated from Sri Lanka. Smallpox is gone, cancers can be cured. HIV, which was deadly 20 years ago, is no longer a dangerous disease. All these have been achieved through science, and no other paradigm of medicine has come even close to achieving what medical science has achieved. All the changes that are brought about in terms of human longevity and quality of life has been brought about by medical scientific research. Let us not undervalue it. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that our college must play a bigger role in the advocacy of truth, making its voice heard to tell the public that which is right, that which is true, denouncing that which is false and that which is foolish. Our college should not be just a candle, but a beacon of light to dispel the darkness. Hope is humanity's strongest characteristic. Hope will overcome fear. Science is the flame which ignites hope. With perseverance, we will overcome. The virus will eventually vanish. We will gradually become immune through the development of herd immunity and through vaccination. Science will win in the end, as it always has done, together with human tenacity. We must have faith, not in prayers, devils, or witch doctors, but in science and scientific method. We must guard ourselves against the temptation of being carried away by reckless claims of benefit and hold fast to our principles of scientific method. Best evidence must always be sought out, built on the knowledge gained from basic sciences research. The pandemic has made us question ourselves whether the paradigm of evidence based medicine is fit for purpose to meet the unexpected challenges we may face. However, at least for now, there is no substitute for evidence generated by rigorous scientific experiment. However, we must open our minds to other paradigms, standing on the shoulders of giants, seeking to see further than our predecessors have seen. As a college, we must take leadership in research, making maximum use of the diverse skills our membership has, building networks across the country, joining academic physicians in the universities with the clinicians working at grassroots levels. Evidence must be generated locally, asking the right questions, seeking the answers to the specific problems we have, rather than being driven by researchers in distant lands who seek to use our data to answer questions which are relevant to them but of little use to us. We must take ownership of our research, focusing on quality rather than quantity. Our college has an important role to play in giving leadership and guidance to research. This year, the CCP will focus on strengthening research, not just by providing research training and supporting funding, but through a more broad-based strategy of developing research policy for physicians in Sri Lanka. By fostering research networks, linking academics with clinicians, and guideline development and evidence synthesis will go hand in hand with all of these. However, let us not forget our prime role as a college, which is to advance the competencies and practices of our colleagues in the field of medicine, both physicians and physician trainees. Making our colleagues more up to date will result in better patient care and also enhance the prestige of our profession. We will achieve this by strengthening our college's educational and training activities throughout the year, using innovative new technology to reach our colleagues across the country. There will be an increased focus on skills training, making physicians more skilled at what they do, making them competent in the latest technological skills to enhance their practice. This will be achieved through a series of innovative sessions throughout the year, ending with our annual conference. We also hope that our college will be able to strengthen our links with overseas colleges, enabling the exchange and sharing of academic resources while making available academic and training positions for our trainees in overseas centers of excellence. Our college will link up academically with a wide range of overseas professional colleges, not just in the UK, but in other countries as well. We will introduce simple point of care guidelines relevant to our country based on best evidence, which are available at the bedside to all doctors at a glance. This is integrally linked to ensuring the highest standards of medical care and safety, continuous professional development and continuous medical education forms an important part of this, and we also need to strengthen the mechanisms for clinical governance in our practice, moving eventually to a system of appraisal by our peers and revalidation. I would like to see our college play a greater role in enhancing the quality of postgraduate training by promoting closer interactions between our college and the Postgraduate Institute of Medicine where I work. Our college should also play a greater role in defining the future role of physicians, generalists, and finer specialists alike to fulfill the needs of the Ministry of Health, other state sector institutions, and the private sector. There is a great need to project the requirements of physicians of different subspecialties in the future, taking into account attrition as well as expanding demands of patients for high quality care. This will require a closer relationship between physicians and policymakers in the Ministry of Health, keeping the needs and aspirations of the patient of this country as our priority. Ladies and gentlemen, the job of a physician is an extremely busy one. We often juggle several jobs at once. As a result, we face many ethical dilemmas. Time is often limited, and we battle to finish our tasks through the day, hoping to find a little time to spend with our families. The public is quick to criticize, but slow to understand or acknowledge the commitment that the vast majority of us make on their behalf. The irony of this is that we are often criticized or found fault with whatever we do. If we spend too much time, we are thought to be selfish and greedy. If we spend too much, queries are raised about our competence. We are often compared against the worst of us rather than the best of us. We are often accused of charging excessively, although most of the time our fees are the lowest among equivalent professions. Temptation is easy to yield to. Ethical boundaries, once crossed, become easy to cross again. Once we get on the slippery slope of dishonesty, it is hard to restore our integrity and dignity. We should seek not to judge, rather to understand the compelling reasons which make some of us do what we do. So how do we strike a balance? How do we show the public that we self-regulate, that our profession is governed and accountable? We must show society that our practice meets the highest standards. Our college should take leadership in developing a framework for self-regulation, providing guidance to our membership and our trainees. In this regard, the senior members of the college, our teachers and our mentors have an important role to play to guide and support the younger members, acting as role models to all of us, while setting the standards for us to measure ourselves by. Our college has an important role to play in bringing its members together as individuals and professionals to share a part of their social lives with each other. Apart from being enjoyable and entertaining, these opportunities for fellowship make us work together better and provide more concerted and coordinated care. Crossing the districts for regional meetings brings about more than just the dissemination of knowledge. It binds people together, makes them share their different cultural values and beliefs and traditions. Indirectly, it helps us understand the health beliefs and practices of other cultures, enabling us to adapt our methods to make our paradigm of care more acceptable to our patients. The pandemic has placed a restriction on the conventional opportunities for interaction, but has opened up different platforms for sharing of ideas using social media. Diversity brings strength to the physician community, reminding us that though we may be different in some ways, culturally or ideologically, we have more to bring us together than to divide us. It is sometimes sad to see that diversity results in division, especially on social media platforms, where it is easy to say careless things which may cause hurt, hiding behind the mask of anonymity. It is important for us to realize the importance of respecting the views of others, of not hurting their cultural sensitivities, while preserving the freedom of expression of scientifically valid views, whatever the medium for communication that we use. Our college should play a leading role in ensuring equality and diversity of our membership. Notwithstanding the obstacles placed by the pandemic, we will attempt to hold at least 3 regional meetings this coming year, with many other events streamed with local satellite meetings. We also hope to introduce a Fellows Day, giving an opportunity for fellows of our college, old and new, to meet and mingle. We also hope to introduce a forum for our trainee physicians to enable them to generate and share new ideas while helping them develop networks with trainee physicians across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, our college has a great history and has achieved a lot. We are proud of what each of us has contributed to make our college what it is. While being proud, we must also be introspective, critical when needed. We must try to become more aware of our limitations and shortcomings and try to put right things we can. We need to make our voice heard loud and clear, letting everyone know that the Ceylon College of Physicians stands for great ideals, emerging as the organization which sets the standards for our practice while also championing the cause of our patients. Perhaps at times we have become too exclusive. We need to open our doors to our membership, make them feel more inclusive wherever they are, helping them and guiding them along the way to support their efforts at bringing about better patient care. We must also be more austere in this age where money and resources are scarce. Based on what I have said, let me spend a few minutes to outline what we are and what society expects of us as good physicians. The care of our patients is our highest concern. We have a responsibility to them to be competent, to keep our professionals' knowledge and skills up to date. It is our duty to take prompt action if we think patient safety is being compromised. We must establish and maintain good partnerships with our patients and our colleagues. We must maintain trust in ourselves and in our profession by being open, honest, and acting with integrity. Our college has an important responsibility in supporting our membership to be good physicians by guiding us and supporting us to fulfill these responsibilities to our patients. But is this enough, and should we do more? As a college, I believe that we should reach out to the community more, initiating healthcare projects which directly benefit patient care. Perhaps we could work together to develop infrastructure and facilities in the less developed, impoverished parts of the country. Perhaps we could campaign to draw in funding from the corporate sector to undertake social responsibility projects through which we develop facilities where they are needed most. Ladies and gentlemen, these are difficult and ambitious tasks, but with perseverance and commitment, they are not beyond our reach. Ladies and gentlemen, the roadmap for the college should not be drawn for just a year or two. We need to look far into the future, drawing our path with a vision of what we want to be someday. We all have dreams and wishes for ourselves, for our patients, and for our college. A few of these dreams and wishes will come true, and many of them will not, but that should not stop us from dreaming and wishing. Let me end with a simple wish for this year and beyond, a wish that we can easily make come true. And this is my wish for the college. I wish that we be blessed with divine discontent, not quite satisfied with what we have achieved, always wanting more, always wanting to do better, always wanting to do more for ourselves to achieve greater heights as academics and professionals, always wanting to do more for our college in terms of leadership and advocacy and excellence, and most importantly, wanting to give back more to the community at large, to our patients who place their lives in our hands. Ladies and gentlemen, a few words of acknowledgement which are due. To my teachers, my friends, I thank you for the honor that you have given me and the trust that you have placed in me. There are many people to thank and to remember on a long journey like this. My sincere gratitude goes out to all those mentors and colleagues and numerous others who have helped and guided me through the years. There are simply too many to name. I will name a few. For my being here, on a personal note, I have two people to thank. One is a past president of the college, and the other is, I hope, a future president, Chandani Vanigatunga Upul for convincing me to take up this office against my will almost. I also must mention Shamita, Chamila, and Suranga, and the councils, new and old. You have been pillars of support. To Professor Rizvi Sharif, my mentor and teacher, and the members, my dear colleagues of the Department of Medicine, who unfortunately could not be invited because of the limitations of COVID. You have been a great support to me throughout my career. My sincere gratitude goes to the one person whom I consider my greatest mentor, Professor Janaka Silva. Thank you, sir, always. To my wife, Anoja, my deepest gratitude for being there every step of the way. And so, to my mother, Prema Rajapakse, for her quiet encouragement and patience through the years. And finally, my heartfelt gratitude to my father, Sirimanand Rajapakse, whose memory continues to guide and inspire me each day of my life. Ladies and gentlemen, I pledge to do my best for our college, and I thank you for patiently listening.